Hail, thou bright stars in the firmament of God! Hail, children of the light, sons of the morning! Blessed is the presence of God Almighty within thee. Won't you please be seated? The harvest fields of earth are ripe indeed. The laborers in the Father's vineyard are necessary, but preparation is needed in preparing those who would tend the harvest, so that they spoil not the tender shoots of the grain, but bring the full ear and each kernel to the threshing floor, that this harvest may be one of safety, beauty, and the eternal radiance to offer to the Most High God. I am come today into your midst to make you aware of the need to study, to show thyself approved unto God. The dazzling garments of light which we wear are no accident. They were loomed by angelic hands, prepared by holy energies, designed in the mind and heart of cosmic beings, and the splendor that they reflect is the result of diligence and care, for it is at our levels and in our octave that diligence and care are brought to the heights of fruition. I am come today into your midst to make you aware of the awesome responsibility of diligently making application that shall make you masters of your own energy, so that the golden age civilization, waiting to be externalized, shall become manifest, garnered, nurtured, and cared for by a people who have made themselves ready, worthy and able to be custodians of the mightiest civilization that is flourished upon earth. Remnants remain of lost, forgotten, and ancient civilizations in all countries of the world, Ur of the Chaldees, and in the land of the Incas in South America. But I would like to call to your attention that the gold, of which there is a certain fixed supply in the heart of the earth, was utilized in past ages by the ancient Mayans and others, so much so that they wore armor and coats of mail composed of pure gold. They wore blazing helmets of gold, and they wore the most precious jewels that your hearts are capable of envisioning in abundance. Precious ones of the light, jewels are congealed light. They are the power of light concentrated and prismed into a special color, a part of the rainbow of the pure white light. They embody various divine qualities within them, and the gold is the radiance of the sun of eternal wisdom. Gold, as you have been told, pours forth a very special radiance into the body and being of man. The wise among mankind will desire to carry some objects of gold upon their person, that they may absorb the radiation of the gold. Precious stones also are focuses of light, and in this golden age that is to come, the meaning and use of precious stones will be better understood. The ill-fated Hope Diamond, so called by mankind, was ill-fated because the light within that stone was not understood by its owners. Stones have a mighty purpose, and when that purpose is understood, there can be released from the higher octaves tremendous assistance given to all mankind. When the use is not understood properly and selfishness is in the heart of the individuals who wear them, it is always possible that under certain conditions a negative condition or a reverse situation can be brought about than that which God intends. Therefore mankind who would wear precious stones and jewels ought to understand the need to keep their hearts pure and their minds pure and their natures pure, that they may, like the stones, reflect the mighty light rays that are congealed therein, and release them for mankind's assistance into the world at large. These, too, are talents of the earth, talents buried in the heart of the earth, which mankind have mined, brought forth, and polished, and refined. By the jeweler's art they have cut them so as to reflect the light of the sun and produce a dazzling radiance. But the inner radiance of the stone is far greater than the outer. For the inner radiance of the stone is the sacred fire elements which compose at inner levels the sun behind the sun of the atomic system of congealed energy in the stone. And it is this radiance which is released by the adept who understands the meaning and use of the great law. In the Golden Age civilization, which shall manifest in South America, under the direction of the great god and goddess Meru, whose retreat is located at Lake Titicaca, mankind shall once again find restored the ancient knowledge of the Most High God that shall bring about a complete harmony between the religions of the world and the perfect balance, as St. Germain told you this morning, of the great law of justice. In justice and in a sense of cosmic hope, reverence, and opportunity, men shall mount the pyramid steps to the temple of the sun. They shall recognize the power behind manifestation, and the power behind manifestation will be that which is honored rather than the manifestation itself. And yet men shall show respect to one another, for they are living flames of truth in action. The high priests of the sacred fire of old, such as Melchizedek and others, without father and without mother, without beginning of days or end of days, without descent, these individuals were blessed with a knowledge of the ancient laws governing energy, the transfer of energy by those alchemical processes which are the birthright of every man. Men, in their limited sense of working with metals and precious stones and mortal substance, have not understood how to release the spiritual power behind the substance, and so there is a struggle of grinding and polishing and cutting. When men understand the atomic laws, as we do, they would find no difficulty in using the power of the light of the eye to divide asunder material substance. They would find no power could stand against them. I would like to remind the students at this time the words of Jesus, saying, "If thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. But if the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness?" There exist today individuals upon earth who profess to have dedicated themselves to the eternal purposes, and yet they behold God with one eye and man with another eye, and the justice which they mete out to others, which is not justice at all, shall be meted out to them again. For as they gaze upon others, they gaze with one set of standards, their own. And as they gaze upon God, they gaze with another set of standards, their conception of God. When men understand the law of correspondence, the two eyes become one, and they gaze upon men with singleness of vision as upon God, and they gaze upon God as upon man, because they recognize the duality of the twain manifestations. The early apostles declared, if men did not love God, did not love man whom they had seen, how could they love God whom they had not seen? O precious ones, the Christ, whether in Babylon, in Ur of the Chaldees, in the land of Egypt, or in Palestine upon the hillsides, beheld for generations and many embodiments the God in man. And it was this generous momentum which moved through him to move the multitudes upon the hillsides of Judea, so that as he stood a towering figure of light, the response of men's hearts to his mission brought forth in their consciousness a greater awareness of God and a desire to behold God in men, rather than the recalcitrant, disturbing social structure which has dominated the historical scene far too long. Wars, pestilences, disease, intemperance, and diversity which is scattered like the wind into the land and realm of chaos is not the kingdom of heaven. And the whirlwind of God shall scatter this kingdom of man until not one vestige or trace of it shall remain, and in its place shall be builded the temple of Almighty God, the golden age temple, builded upon the house which the builders rejected, which has become the chief cornerstone. For men have unwittingly rejected the Christ of their own nature. They have perceived by a double set of standards, man and God. They have failed to exercise the divine prerogative of the single-eye vision, and the supposed light within them is thus darkness. And how great is that darkness, and how great is the fall of that house? For it knows not that it knows not, and therefore it remains in the abysmal land of ignorance, where there is gnashing of teeth and wailing and woe. Come then from out this land of shadow, children of the light, and respond to the light that is within the eye of God. Behold the immaculate concept which God has for you as the concept for the golden age, the concept that recognizes the pure gold of your inner nature, that does not permit the mortality of the flesh, the passions and desires of man, to dominate the fiber of your nature and being. but determines to cast off every fetter and to express with the speed of light the golden age into manifestation in the outer. You have heard of a catapult. Well, beloved ones, it is necessary today, if men are to be spared the pains of their own karma, to catapult into manifestation the eternal structure of spiritual attainment, so that civilization will come to a place of cognition and knowing where they will behold in the transitory no permanent home, for there is none there. Children are born, and before they know it, in almost the wink of an eye, they are adults. And once they have become adults, in almost another wink of an eye, they are ready to pass from the screen of life. This is not immortality. This is chaos. The personality labors and strives to achieve and attain and struggles with its heart and its mind. It reaches a certain point where it is perhaps at the apex of its development, and at that moment it is taken from the screen of life. This is not the plan of God. The plan of God is for immortality to manifest in men. One of the reasons why so many of you are taken up with the idea of the ascended masters is that you recognize in us immortality that transcends the ages. You realize that we have existed upon this planet and in the higher atmospheres and higher octaves for centuries. Well, beloved ones, we have existed longer than that, for millenniums. And this is the precious part that I wish to relate to yourselves. You have existed also through that period. During the epochs of the past, when I was winning my own ascension, you too existed in the heart and mind of God. You have been, and I refer to many of you, identified with the evolutions of earth for millenniums. That you did not win your freedom in all cosmic honesty is a result, in most cases, of a lack of application. There are a few in this room who did not win their ascension purely because of their dedication to the light in the past. These individuals, and they are few, are those who, when their ascension was almost offered them for various reasons, pledged their energies to God on behalf of a cause, and were so busy doing the Father's business that they did not even take the time to make enough application for themselves to win their ascension. They are blessed children of the light, and in the annals of heaven their names are recorded. They shall in due time shine in that eternal firmament, having won their ascension with a brighter crown, a more dazzling star radiance, and a greater blessing for all that they have given to the light. Then there remains another segment, those individuals who are equally blessed and revered by God, who are the laggards, or those that were influenced by the laggards. These individuals have accepted in their feeling world the necessity of embodiment after embodiment, and they believe that perfection comes about through a system of orderly experiences upon earth, whereby the soul gradually evolves to godhood. I do not deny this process, but it is like climbing a mountain without a professional mountaineer to guide you. It is like climbing a mountain alone. It is like going up the mountain and resting every few hundred feet. precious ones of the light, this is most difficult. It is a slow and tortuous process. What the ascended masters offer you, by way of Saint Germain's violet flame, by way of the tube of light, by way of the mighty I Am presence, is your freedom to travel up the mountain by a helicopter. Beloved ones, you know the word helios. You are familiar with that. And a helicopter of the Spirit is that which exalts and propels men into their ascension by a process which can be almost called spiritual automation. This is the mercy of God in action. It teaches men how to overcome the laws of gravity, the pull of earth upon their individual being, those weights, sins, and distresses which keep them from attaining and achieving the spiritual goals the Father intends. The Christ and the beloved masters in the past have advocated the laying off of every weight and the sin which does so easily beset man, and the searching out and probing for spiritual goals. Well, beloved ones, as you gaze down upon the tortuous crags beneath your feet when you begin to rise via this helicopter method, you will be eternally grateful that you chose it rather than labor by crawling over the various crevasses and passes of the mountains, struggling, bruised and bleeding toward the summit. This is why today I am coming to you to speak on behalf of the golden age. Beloved ones, think for a moment a little bit about the potential of your being. I wonder if you realize, precious ones of the light, that there are 8 souls in this audience who could be potential masters within less than 7 years if they would make their application. And I am referring here to masters of substance and form, even before their ascension. And the rest of you could make significant achievement if you would make your application. You drew forth a wonderful radiance, which Saint Germain commented upon to me before this address. He was most delighted to bring you his radiance and his perfection, which I am sure most of you tangibly felt during his address. We of the Kingdom of Light and the Great White Brotherhood are delighted at the application this group has made. The harmony that has been expressed throughout this class is the result of the closeness of your application to God and the fact that you have kept your attention in the main off of human matters. Consistently, we have advocated the refraining from gossip and disturbing reports which the enemy constantly sows among the brethren of light. You have been, and I congratulate you, relatively free from that type of disturbing condition. And as a result, you have expressed a greater harmony and nobility of character, for you recognize that human beings are, after all, human beings. They will do and they will not do, good and bad. And they are here in order that they may be cut free from all those elements which are discordant. Human beings then are changing from day to day, and the sinner of today may be the saint of tomorrow. I do not wish to rehash for you today the experiences of St. Francis, but I would like to make a brief comment upon him. He was rather a gay troubadour in his day, but today he is the world teacher, co-equal with the Christ in bringing the blessedness of the higher teachings of the great law to mankind. So you see, beloved ones, those who knew him as the gay troubadour, within perhaps a few hours or days, would suddenly see the phenomena of St. Francis appearing upon the scene. Now this is very contradictory. He is no longer a gay troubadour, but he is a saint. Well, it takes people some time to recognize a saint. for the transition is sometimes in the twinkling of an eye. But I do not think that it was really in the twinkling of an eye, for I think that perhaps there was great preparation in past embodiments for that position of eminence which he brought forth and manifested as St. Francis. I think the people of Assisi and his own country did not realize the greatness that was within him. And it is only now that the Christian theologians and people of the world and the theologians of every faith are beginning to recognize St. Francis for what he is and what he was. Well, precious ones of the light, they may not recognize you. They may not feel that you have very much of God in you. There are people that may desire to belittle you, even in your application. They may think, for example, that you are slightly, and you will pardon my colloquialism here, touched in the head because of your application to this great light. Well, beloved ones, it doesn't make very much difference what they say, for they too are in the process of becoming. And one day they will find themselves knocking at the very door that you are now passing through. But they will be later, far later than they think, because of their ridiculous situation of poking fun at the children of the light. They will only defer their own opportunities. But we do not wish to bring anything of a condemnatory nature to them. We wish to bring our love and our compassion and the freeing power of light to them. We do not wish the students to feel any aloofness toward those who may not have the understanding and comprehension which we have given to you through your own mighty I Am presence. And you will notice that I am hereby identifying myself with your presence, because I feel that we are all one, you see. And there is therefore no cause for my feeling that I am the great divine director and therefore exalted above you. I feel that in the presence of God we are one, and that is sufficient. It is the great leveler. It brings down the mountains and it exalts the valleys until there is one beautiful plain of the Spirit where the brotherhood of light can sweep across the plains of men and bring the Son of God into radiant manifestation, an immortal and eternal sunrise. When the astronauts were passing around the globe, they noted that they observed many sunrises and sunsets in the course of their journey. The ideas there show that the passage of time is meaningless, for when the speed of light is approached by an individual, there is no time, do you see? For in the light, time becomes as nothing, and 1 year with God, who is light, is as a single day. Or 1 year with God is as 1,000 years, or 1,000 years is as 1 day. It does not make any difference how you compress time, whether into an hour, into a moment, or expand it into eternity. It is infinite, and you see, beloved ones, when a situation is infinite, it means without beginning and without end, without spatial dimensions. It cannot be confined or limited. And this is the consciousness that we would engender within you, because it is the consciousness that it will exalt you out of a sea of troubles into a realm and era of cosmic dominion, where the unfailing light of God will express tangibly through you. Now some may say, well, this didn't happen to me before. Well, beloved ones, when Godfrey stood upon the mountaintop and took the hands of David Lloyd into his, and David Lloyd, with his white hair, began to rise into the atmosphere, and his hair began to turn back to its natural color, and he lost contact with the world and made his ascension. A change took place, and he could say also, this had never happened before. And so it is, precious ones. When the light expands enough, at the appointed time, you will rise into your rightful place. But the preparation of the seed within the heart of the earth is necessary. Remember that long before the shoot pokes forth through the earth, the seed must expand by the application of the water, which softens the kernel and hardness around the seed. The roots must go down into the heart of the earth. The warmth of the sun must penetrate through the soil and be absorbed to cause the expansion, combining the fire principle and the water principle in the heart of the earth, so that this plant may seek the air or etheric principle of life. Now herein I am illustrating for you how that the divine memory of man becomes manifest. For the emotional body of man must be governed. The emotional body of man interpenetrates his physical form, and it is your feeling body. The mental body of man also penetrates your physical form, and it is your body of thought. But the etheric body is your body of memory. And there, in that storehouse of memory, are all of the experiences that you have had in all of your embodiments stored. And precious ones of the light, many scars have been stored in mankind's etheric body. But the violet fire is able to transmute every scar. Well, when they are transmuted, it is similar to an operation where a part is taken out and removed from the body. And when that part is taken out, it does not remain there any longer. It is not there to trouble you. It cannot longer plague you. And it is thus that God wipes away every tear from the eyes of man, by removing and casting these conditions into a sea of forgetfulness. In the holy name of heaven, beloved students of the light, would it not be a frightful thing if all of the wrongs that men have done since they first took embodiment should always follow them wherever they would go? I ask you, is it not then a blessed release that these conditions can be transmuted? And ought not men to forgive one another if they expect forgiveness from God? I am sure the students of the light understand this, but I am ever so anxious that they understand it in action. It is one thing to understand it in your thinking body. It is one thing to understand it and feel it in your feeling body and say, oh, I love to be forgiven. If I have made an error, I love to have someone forgive me for my error. But when you stand before another who has made an error which has caused your life stream some problem or trouble, and you can say to that individual, I forgive you, and mean it, that is the law fulfilled in action. It is the application of the law, and therein is your release. Your release can never come about, precious students, by believing the law and not doing it. The kingdom of heaven has suffered violence, and the violent have indeed taken it by storm. But they cannot retain the ground which they have taken, for the only way that one can gain entrance into the eternal kingdom is by being a living Christ in action. Men may fool themselves, and they may fool others, but they can never fool the great law, for the law acts inexorably and supremely. The law is wise. The law is God. It is a manifestation of God, and it is the judge of every man's acts, good or bad. Men may safely rest upon its pinions, for the pinions of the law will bear men up as wings, for the great law is charged with mercy. And men, therefore, who would follow the love of God will understand the need for forgiveness. It is needed upon this planet. Kuan Yin just the other day said to me, mankind must learn more how to apply the law of forgiveness to others if they would have it themselves. And it is the only way, she said, that they will attain freedom from all inequities within their own spirit. I think then, beloved ones, that you will desire to pay more attention to the application of mercy where it applies other life streams, and that you will look with compassion then upon one another, assisting one another toward your ascension, and not attempting to dominate people by your own self-will, standing rather to say with the Christ, Father, not my will, but thine be done. The application of these principles can never harm any part of life. The application of these principles can only heal and bless. These principles will expand the God within you, and they will make you a practical individual, a practical gentleman of heaven, like Saint Germain. Well, ladies and gentlemen, how many of you people would like to put your hand up and say that you would like to be like Saint Germain? As you hold them there, I ask Saint Germain to charge into those upraised hands his feeling of cosmic freedom. The light of God that never fails, the light of God that never fails, the light of God that never fails is manifest in you and through your hands raised up toward God. As Moses raised his hands of old unto the Most High, so shall there come into your world the strength that descended to him of old, and you shall find the promised land by deftness in application, by adoration to the presence, by compassion and healing extended to men, and by the infinite capacities of God to expand yourselves into your immortal destiny. You may lower your hands. You have pledged your energy to your presence. And as the great divine director, I pledge my energies to you, so long as you shall remember your vows made to your presence, so long as you shall sincerely strive to serve the light. You shall have my assistance until the close of this embodiment, or until you shall win your ascension. And now, precious ones of the light, I would like you to perform a service on behalf of the incoming civilization of South America. I would like you to visualize the beautiful retreat at Lake Titicaca. As you visualize Lake Titicaca in all its splendor, and behold the calm waters there, visualize a beautiful golden sphere, 1,000 feet in diameter, floating in the atmosphere, high above Lake Titicaca. Feel that this great golden sphere of light is charged with the radiance of the golden age. See pouring into it the radiance from on high, from the great central sun. See this radiance touch through the physical sun of this system of worlds, through the heart of beloved Helios and Vesta. See this radiance compress itself with the speed of light within this great golden sphere hovering now over Lake Titicaca. The light is now active there. And the light is the light of many hearts. The light is the light of the heart of God. Many cosmic beings throughout the universe have poured almost all of their energy available into that great golden sphere. And now we decree to Alpha and Omega in the great central sun. Let us decree together, beloved Alpha and Omega, beloved Alpha and Omega, Father of lights, in the great central sun, in the great central sun. We call now for a manifestation, for the manifestation of the most wonderful civilization that has ever stood upon this earth. Saint Germain's golden age, made manifest in South America, and throughout the world, through the arteries of religion, of commerce, of the hearts of men, of the minds of men, of the eternal mighty I am presence and holy Christ selves of all. Let the bells of freedom ring. Let the earth remain free. Let every part of life that has been discordant be free. Let the bells of freedom ring. Bring in the golden age. O Saint Germain. O great white brotherhood. O Helios and Vesta. O Virgo and Pilur. O beloved Gautama and Maitreya. O Holy Virgin Mother. Let the light expand. And now, beloved ones, at a signal from on high, from the planet Venus, a pink star shall descend. This pink star shall be but a fraction of the size of the golden sphere. And as it penetrates to the very center of the golden sphere, that golden sphere shall burst with the power of 10,000 hydrogen bombs, and it shall blast forth its rays of light through the entire body of the planet to produce in the hearts of men the seed of the golden age civilization. O sacred lords of the flame, thou seven holy Kumaras upon Venus, breathe now upon this planet and descend on that great pathway of light. Bring forth the star of pink. Let it descend charged with the love of God into the center of the golden age consciousness, which is diffused now onto the entire planetary body. Let all students here assembled say together, I accept this blessing from the heart of God. I accept this blessing from the heart of God. I accept this blessing from the heart of God. I accept this blessing from the heart of God. Now is the iridescence of the golden age diffused throughout the planet, and the power of the Spirit has triumphed over flesh. The Word that has become flesh shall be invested in greater measure in man, and man shall become more of a manifestation of God. Let all destructive forces take warning. The end of destruction is at hand. For the sons of light and of Christ, regardless of frightening appearances, shall obtain their victory through the light of God that never fails. And the clarion call has sounded forth. Won't you please be seated? The service you have rendered the light is much, and I thank you. I doubt, because of the honesty of my perception, that few among you fully comprehend the meaning of that which has been done. But because you know in part, I can say unto you with certainty that if you pursue the course you have so nobly begun, you shall in due time behold in this act the face of God manifest in a civilization of glorious attainment, brought forth by the power of the spoken word through mankind here, anchoring the radiation and vibratory action of the higher cosmic beings of light, and performing a service of Christ's nobility to the earth. I thank you. Children of the sacred fire, I am come this day to make a great call to all of the holy and constructive people upon earth, those who recognize the need to band together in the holy cause of freedom and cast off the fetters that have prevented divine unity from manifesting upon earth, even as it is in heaven. I am come this day with a holy graciousness. I am grateful for your presence here. I am grateful for the love and devotion from countless hearts not assembled here physically, but paying dedication to the holy cause of freedom and paying dedication to the sacred fire. Children of the sacred fire, the need has never been greater to throw off the fetters of human consciousness. The need has never been so dire as it is at the moment, for mankind is poised at the apex of scientific achievement, philosophical knowledge. Objectivity is now paramount in the consciousness of mankind, but the objectives which mankind have and the goals which they pursue are often so far removed from the wonders of eternity that they may as well be non-existent. Precious ones of the light, their goals are slanted at a few years at the most, and time being transitory, they are becoming beggars of the Spirit, and likewise they are but temporal beggars, for they have only the husks to partake of, and never know the meaning of the true bread of heaven, which came down from above to endow mankind with immortality and grace for eternity, not for the moment. I ask you now, ladies and gentlemen, in the holy name of God, how anyone could ever conceive that the Most High God would so wonderfully fashion consciousness for individuals and bestow them with an awareness of themselves so that they can look at the reflection of God within themselves and utter His name and say, I am. And then remove them from the screen of life, never more to have knowledge, never more to breathe, never more to have feeling and sentiment toward His holy precepts. This is unthinkable, and nowhere in the universe outside of a recalcitrant and ununderstanding heart can these thoughts manifest. For truly any heart that is open to God and to understanding will by natural reasons come to understand that consciousness was not born in a moment, but that it was a gift bestowed in crystal clarity upon mankind by God. Man did not in one moment suddenly become possessed with a consciousness and then evolve from that point, but man was given a consciousness of God, already intelligent, already charged with power, and already charged with the radiance of divine love, which is a mystery far beyond the comprehension of mortal mind. Precious ones of the light, God is love. Yes, He is love, but love has become empty and vapory of meaning to many because they do not fully comprehend its breadth, its height, its depth, its immensity, and all that it is. It is a mystery because it is the unseen facets of the Godhead. Love, then, is God. But God is not merely an empty name. When you utter the words, I am, and feel that it refers to the finite self alone, or to your name or fame or personality, this then is devoid of the God intent. For when you utter the name, I am, it is intended to epitomize the fullness of the divine identity, so that you no longer feel the frustrating sense of separation from the eternal principle of life, but that you as an individual monad become comforted by the gracious flame of life which expresses through you and is as much a part of you as anything can ever be. You could never become identified with any condition or principle as you can become identified with your own beloved mighty I Am presence. Beloved ones, the mighty I Am presence is your own being. You must drink into that mighty fountain of life and permit it to surge up within you. You will recall the words of the Christ to the woman at the well, he who shall drink of this water shall never thirst again. Well, precious ones, he who shall drink at the fount of his own beloved mighty I Am presence and truly imbibe that which the presence is and implies into his outer consciousness, he shall never thirst again, for he shall truly have partaken of the water of immortality and the very being of God. If then you still hunger and thirst after righteousness, it means that you are yet to be filled, but it does not mean that you should stop the pursuit of immortality. For because of false goals, long pursued, false momentums are builded up within the human psyche, and individuals pursue these false goals, the counterfeits, because they do not know the real thing. And it is then the plan of life that individuals should come to the threshing floor of God, that they should be purged from the dross, and should acknowledge the mighty immortality that is within them, and be able to distinguish that immortality from those lesser goals, which are a mere chimera on the face of life, a mirage shining upon a desert. And at the end of that mirage, there is only the vacancy of the passing individuality into the higher octaves and rebirth in a ceaseless round which does not end because of the mercy of God, who, desiring to fulfill his plan, extends mankind's consciousness beyond the so-called grave, giving him a renewed opportunity ever so frequently until he comes to apprehend the meaning and riddle of his existence. However, the true goal of every son of heaven and every daughter of light ought to be the achieving of that immortality, which is also reflected in the parable of the Christ concerning the 5 wise and 5 foolish virgins. You will recall, precious ones, that the 5 wise virgins were prepared for the coming of the bridegroom of heaven, and trimmed their lamps and kept them burning. I am of the opinion that the keepers of the flame will themselves be particularly responsive to this thought form, and they will understand the need and the meaning to sustain for themselves an active interest in the eternal principles, until by proximity, through the power of magnetization, which they have consciously invoked, they will reach that particular place where the magnets of heaven can pull them over the line between the human and the divine, and exalt them into the holy of holies of their own immortal existence. This cannot be until individuals are willing to cut the ties that bind them to lesser goals, and to recognize the need to place their consciousness upon the altar of life without holding back a part of the price. Individuals are ever so frequently anxious to appear to be giving themselves to the light before men, but they are not giving themselves to the light within their heart. In fact, beloved ones, I do not wish to tell secrets upon people, but it is a surprising fact that there are a few among the children of the light, that is, among those who profess to be children of the light, who actually at times experience doubts as to the existence of God. And they say to themselves, well, I ought to have as much pleasure as I can in this life, for I do not wish to risk the chance of losing my life and not experiencing some form of pleasure. Well, God intends to give mankind the greatest happiness in existence, and he does not intend to give it to you today or for a moment, but he intends to give it to you forever. And these lesser goals can never achieve it. Therefore, these precious individuals who have these doubts and fears and permit their consciousness to indulge them are only depriving themselves of the mightiest release of love and light and power from the heart of God, that is possible for men to deprive themselves of. For, beloved ones, whenever an individual expresses doubt, it is as if a door were closed between them and their own mighty I Am presence, and the very expression of doubt within their feeling world effectively cuts them off from that radiation which would otherwise pour out to them. It is like a cloud passing before the face of the sun of their being. And so they do experience at that time the tears that are the rain that falls from the clouds of doubt. And this is not the intention of God, for He would wipe away all sorrow and all tears from the eyes of every individual and usher them in to the highest expression of Himself. This is the reality of everyone's being. This is the reality of immortality. This is the grace of God expressed among men, destined to build a wonderful civilization. Some of you yesterday witnessed a recording on celluloid film of South America and a story of the early pilgrims. You are aware then of the wonders of the South American civilization, sponsored by the great divine director and others of the mighty Brotherhood of Light. You are aware of the need then to express love to those people in whatsoever state they may be in. For the three Americas are all intended to be bulwarks of freedom, and the hand of fellowship is intended to express itself through the Pan-American Union, that there will be friendship in God's name extended as hands of light clasped over the Panama Canal from North America and the far fastnesses of Lord Michael's retreat in Canada to the very tip of the Cape in South America. Precious ones of the light, the girdle of light is intended to surround the world at the equator and equate in perfect balance for the earth, both the north and the south, that the hemispheres may become coordinated in perfect balance through the hearts of the people. Now I realize that some of you may not be aware of the need to balance the earth in the inner, but I would like to explain to you today that the heart of mankind is the focal point or pivot where balance is achieved by individuals. You have witnessed the scales of justice, and you are aware that this symbol of my beloved twin flame Portia has a pivot point, and that the balance is at that pivot point. Therefore, the heart of man corresponds in like manner to the pivot point of the scales of justice. And the heart of man must equate for him all of the various and diverse manifestations of God the world around. Men must accept in their feeling worlds the life flame within the hearts of all people. Prejudices must be removed and supplanted by understanding. Criticism must end and cease, because men must look to the divine critique, the reason of Almighty God expressed through the Holy Christ mind. When this Christ mind expresses through individual life streams all causes for criticism, the causes and cores will be removed from all. And the sooner criticism ceases among the students of anyone, the quicker they can equate within their heart all these diverse outer conditions and produce the perfection in their own world which will make them masters of heaven and earth. Yes, beloved ones, God intends to exalt you to a wondrous stature, and there is living room within this universe for you all, strange as it may seem, individuals in all of their learning, have never achieved understanding until they come to the place where they are illumined by God. And then they understand that with God all things are possible, and they no longer begin to wonder and saddle themselves with limitations. Beloved ones, it is an actual fact that individuals are often concerned with the future life and say to themselves, well, where will there be room for all of these people? Or where will there be room for all of these planets and the people of these planets to expand? This is simply a human comprehension, for God possesses the power to expand space as a child can blow up a toy balloon, and there is no difficulty experienced by the Father in expanding space without end into the infinite realms which are all His body, His consciousness, and His nature. The creation of God has not been discoursed on by us, because before it could be understood by man, he would find it necessary to become all of God. And only the all of God could understand the beginning and the ending. For only the all of God could understand the infinity, which had no beginning and no ending. And therefore man cannot, in their present state, know the riddle of the beginning and the ending, because they are not even able to comprehend their own being. They cannot even comprehend the network of the nervous system, which comprises a part of their physical structure, passing through their musculoskeletal form and interconnecting the various members of their body. How then can they be expected to comprehend the depth and the vastness of heaven? And yet, through the heart, man is able to equate again all things and to enter into that power which, speaking through man as the voice of the mighty I Am Presence, declares, all power in heaven and earth is given unto me. All power in heaven and earth is given unto me. All power in heaven and earth is given unto me. And whosoever will may drink of the water of life freely. Ho then, let all that are athirst come then and accept the gift of God without money and without price, for it but requires the dedication of your all. Every effort then made to unite mankind, every effort made to achieve understanding, is a blow struck in the name of freedom. And eventually, as in a charge in battle, the victory will be won. One must recognize that the enemies of divinity, the enemies of the cause of righteousness, are everywhere. They are unwitting tools of the accumulation of human negative energy. They shall be dissipated. They have no power in our octave, and they have no power in yours unless you give it unto them. It is true, however, in all cosmic honesty, that I say to you that because of human momentums generated in the past, individuals need to be vigilant. They need to and require application for their own protection. They must be vigilant in weaving the garment of light, known to you as the tube of light, in maintaining the protection of that radiance, in holding the thought of God within their heart, and vigilant in expressing the love when all outer conditions seem to belie the expression of love upon earth. Although the battle may rage hot and intently, those dedicated ones, wearing shining armor of radiant light, will pass through and overcome, and in the heat of battle they shall know victory over the foe. haughty though he may be, he shall fall by their side, and they shall not fall. They shall stand vigilant eternal, and they shall know liberty, they shall know freedom, they shall know grace, they shall know the light, because they are children of the light. The diamond radiance of the light shall compose the atoms of their body, and they shall shine like the sun in righteousness. Their mind shall be clear and sharp, like unto the mind of God. The golden sun of illumination shall pour its radiance through their Christ-illumined minds. And they shall express the rainbow radiance of the infinite power of God, light cast against the human prism to reflect the rainbow of promise, not of destruction, but of immortality. And therefore, in the holy name of freedom, and freedom to express immortality by all life on earth, I charge into your consciousness this day the consciousness of God that knows no fear of death, that knows no fear of hell, that knows no fear of chaos, because it is the equal balance of the perfection ray of God shining down into the heart chalice and cherished there and adored until all that is without is like unto all that is within. And in that balanced cross of light, the body of man becomes the body of God, deathless, indestructible, eternal, immortal, all-wise, omnipresent, and love in action. I thank you and bid you good afternoon. May the peace of the infinite Father charge forth its radiance into your four lower bodies, into your hearts, and into your minds, that you may become newly thrilled with that great release of assistance which, like the sand in the glass, is momentarily, hourly, and daily being poured out upon you as a shower of golden, infinite blessings, ceaselessly descending to mankind, to the universe, and everywhere manifest, even at cosmic levels. I am most grateful for the opportunity to serve, and as I reminisce concerning my past, when yet embodied in mortal form, I recall well those experiences which I had in my father's court as Siddhartha Gautama, when through my father's own ideas and desires he kept from me the state of the world and the affairs of the world, and caused me to be reared in an atmosphere of complete ignorance of the presence of sin and death. I recall the first shock to my etheric body to find that the kingdom outside of the palace gates was so different than that I was permitted to view. Well, beloved ones, as I speak to you tonight from the towering minarets of beauty and loveliness that is the city of Shambhala, where the ascended masters are this eve holding a hallowed conclave, I am thinking now of how different the kingdom of God is than mankind in their philosophies and their ideas have envisioned. And I am therefore advocating a spirit filled with a vast humility, which will cause individuals to be more receptive to the light of truth and less prone to those skepticisms and attitudes which tend to decry the existence of a greater manifestation. I am thinking in particular of the idea of human consciousness concerning the need for density in creation. For the concept of density by mankind seems to hold to the idea of the need and requirement for a solid physical form and atomic structure, which must be in accordance with that which is. Well, beloved ones, in our octave of consciousness, we find as much joy, and I think a great deal more, in living and expressing God in a body of infinite light, a body which in no way reflects the calcination self-evident within mankind, a body free from all of those conditions of distress which the unfortunate of mankind must daily endure until they are free. Well, precious ones of the light, the kingdom of God is more wonderful by far than anything whatsoever that you might have imagined. And the situation is somewhat reversed to that which it was in my own case as Siddhartha. For in this case, you beloved ones are on the outside of the palace of light, and you are in that world of form and materialistic conception. And there you abide at times, subject to those whims of mortal consciousness which have not produced perfection in millenniums. Precious ones of the light, the palace of the eternal Father stands secure as his lotus throne, and you have but to enter those gates with praise and thanksgiving in order to assimilate the wonders of the divine experience. As you enter those gates, your mortal conceptions will vanish as the dew before the rising sun, and there will come into manifestation in you the wonders of the divine consciousness, which will expand upon the screen of your mind as the beautiful anemone flowers expand upon the hillsides of Judea. You will see a multifaceted idea of the Eternal Father reflected in all of its splendor, and your hearts will be glad not for a moment but forever. Mankind have for centuries speculated concerning the life after the passage called death. Well, beloved ones, those of us who have made that change countless times and have culminated in a victory of glory, having now won our ascension in the light, are, shall I say, most anxious and desirous of having the divine experience come to all, so that none may ever be bereft of their God peace, but that all may find themselves constantly surrounded with the never-failing light of God, whose effulgence, pouring forth like a blazing flood, brings them each moment an ever stepped up increase of glory, until, in the words of the psalmist, their cup runneth over with joy, and, beloved ones, there is no room outside of the cup to contain that joy. And this is one way that I would like to express it this holy eve, that you may understand that the compassion of God is unlimited. It is most unfortunate that mankind have unwittingly in many cases, and in a few cases chosen voluntarily, to accept an untruth about themselves and about the meaning of existence, and therefore they have created unwittingly, and in other cases consciously and deliberately, riddles and various types of confusing ideas which they have related and passed down from father to son, and on until they have woven strands of a tapestry and fabric that is not the eternal beauty of the Father, but is an ugliness which God could not design. And therefore there exists today a need for the power of transmutation, which is a part of the great mercy flame of God, to come into action and to remove from the screen of human consciousness all that never should have been, of whatsoever type of manifestation it may be, and replace it by all of those qualities for which every sincere heart has long called. These calls, precious ones, are not always articulated. They are not always spoken. They are not always formulated in mind. There are times that they are but a longing, a pang of the individual soul for reunion with the Father. But precious ones of the light, by the divine ray, the golden flame of illumination, there descends upon every seeking heart an understanding which makes it possible for them to articulate, to commune by the power of the spoken word with their great God identity, and to communicate with one another those expressions of divine love calculated to exalt the spirit of man and to remove his apprehensions and misgivings. The religions of the world were originally designed and created by holy men under the inspiration of the Holy Spirit in order to draw men closer to that captivity of magnanimity. And I want to call your attention to this idea, for it is the idea of the Father holding the captive ideas of his goodness as a treasure house for mankind. And therefore, precious ones of the light, this treasure is yours for the taking, and it remains as a mighty harvest for each soul to experience through initiatic experiences and through the divine progressive evolution of the living soul embodied in form. Tonight, as I am speaking to you, charged with the radiance of divine love, surfeited and bathed in the essence of Christ's peace, I charge that peace forth in your midst, that you may partake of the blessing which I share. And because I know the generosity that is within your heart, I am asking the great karmic board as my petition to them tonight to include the entire planet Earth in this petition. Bathe the people of Asia, my beloved ones, in the true light of God that shines within my heart. Bathe the East in that light. Bathe the West, the so-called materialistic West, in the great cosmic Christ conception of God, and let their charge forth into every heart, to every child, to every one in whom there is a flame of light, the essence of this experience which I have, and which I hallow, and which I am. The I am within you, beloved ones, has spoken. The I am within you has spoken you into manifestation, and you, acknowledging the presence of the I am within you, have uttered the words of his own name countless times, having declared, I am. The hallowed name of God, uttered first by him from on high, has been spoken through your lips, touched now by the sacred flame of the Holy Spirit and the radiance of the Maha Chohan. As I sit here upon my lotus throne in Shambhala, I am joyous to report that a wonderful event is taking place here. This is a festive occasion for us also, for because of the harvest festival, which you, precious ones of the light, have elected to make possible here in the city of Washington, we too have desired to celebrate with you the glory of God as it manifests in an abundant spiritual harvest. And therefore, tonight as I am speaking, there are hundreds of cosmic beings and ascended masters who are here with me that are known to many upon earth, and that have been known to them in times past, and that are known to you. Each one of you do not know them all by name, but they know you all, for they possess the power of multiplying their consciousness until it can stand in the aura of every man, woman, and child upon earth, and then expanding their dimensions of time until they are able to read the life record of every individual. Precious ones, this is no more wonderful than the feats duplicated by many of your machines, the products of human ingenuity under divine inspiration. And therefore we are not so enamored with this factor as you might be, but I pass it on to you as one factor of the great law. However, far more important than the mere bilocation of consciousness is the recognition and precognition of the Eternal One unfolding from within the budding divinity of every immortal Son of Heaven. The divinity of every Son of Heaven is planted there as a seed of light within the protective heart chalice of man, to expand, to unfold its lotus petals, to release the fragrance and perfume of its essences, and to produce a Buddha or a Christ in manifestation in every one upon whom is stamped the immortal image of God. I am come this night to bring my Christ peace to each individual life stream in this room, to each individual life stream who will subsequently read my written words and assimilate the vibratory action which I am releasing. But I am most especially charging into the atmosphere of the entire planet a tremendous surge of Christ's peace, to pour the oil of divine illumination upon the troubled waters of human consciousness, to cause the leaders of the nations to speculate concerning the meaning of a history fraught with constant turmoil, with struggle and clash, with pain and hate, deliberately fostered in many cases and nourished by individuals who ought to have known better. I desire to bring to mankind a spirit of true brotherhood and love, a love that is more than words, a love that is even more than the precious feeling of love itself, but a love that is charged with divine wisdom and illumination until it is literally surfeited with it, and then goes back to the heart of the Father for more, in order that it may be a better servant to the light of God that cannot fail. Precious ones of the light, recognize for a moment that in you is mirrored the life flame of God within the great central sun, the flame that pulsates within my heart here in Shambhala is radiant within yourself. You have but to recognize it in order to expand it. When the petals of the lotus unfold, the bud of divinity does release its precious fragrance. And the fragrance of God, like a rose from heaven, is wonderful to inhale. It is precious and priceless. It is sacred and supernal. It is joy and eternal. You have thought of me, that is, some of you have, almost as an idol perched upon the shops and shelves in the marts of commerce and utilized as an incense burner. I have not minded, because I have been able in the higher spheres to pour out to the Christian world, as to the Muslim world, as to the Buddhic world, to the entire earth, the radiance of God without limit. Human concepts have not limited me, because, O God, they have not limited thee. And thy universe continues to hum unabated in its transcendent glory before all mankind, regardless of the human concepts which men have held for centuries. Tired oxen pulling ancient carts creak along the roads today in lands that long ago ought to have externalized trucks, cars, buses, planes, and trains. Individuals today hungering and thirsting after the simple knowledge of geography are without textbooks. Babies are lacking milk, and mankind continue to build instruments of war and destruction, and to plot and to plan in diplomatic intrigue to confuse and maim the divine plan upon earth. You are a citadel of God, as St. Augustine wrote concerning the city of God. You, precious children of God, represent the best hope of the Most High God. As Daniel, captive among the people of his day, was forbidden to pray, but continued 3 times a day to offer prayers to the Most High God, under the threat of being cast into a den of live lions, did not suffer human consciousness to dominate him, so it is expected by the entire hierarchy of light that those among you who love God without hypocrisy will offer your all upon the altar of service and devotion to our sacred cause. Beloved ones, the founders of Christianity were but 12 in number. And I refer to those holy apostles of the Christ. And yet today, Christianity is known everywhere and respected even by other religions. You have now, within the chalice called opportunity, the cosmic possibility open to each of you to render an incomparable service to God. And God, who justly pays all of his debts, will reward you even for those deeds done in secret. And he shall not slack his hand to reward you for those deeds done openly. You have within your power the means, the implements, to recognize divine unity until nothing can cause you to have fear any longer. Beloved ones, during the great World War which recently passed, the statement was made by one of the leaders of the nations that mankind had naught to fear but fear. Well, beloved ones, it is our desire that you shall fear not, in the words of the angel. For if you were bereft of life at this moment, the great law would rapidly turn, and those of you who are not yet worthy to make your ascension would, as I did so often, find themselves within an infant form to manifest again upon the screen of life. The radiance of heaven as a flickering light expanding within mortal consciousness, flickering as a light through an alabaster jar, penetrating, coming out and going, coming out and going. And yet the day shall come for those who will give to God the power and dominion of their world, when they shall go out no more from the holy city of God, but they shall walk in white robes, for they are worthy. You shall be charged with the righteousness of God, because it is your divine nature. That part of man called unrighteousness shall be remembered no more. Infamy, ignominy, deceit, corruption, inequity shall pass from life and be no more. But it must be striven for. It must be sought after. It must be revered when it is apprehended. It must be sensed by the divine within, because the divine within is in mortal form and lives within you, and lives within you in order to magnify the greater self of himself, the highest of the Most High. For you are a lesser manifestation of the divine. and you belong to that Christ peace of the ages, that rock that you may plant your feet upon and say in full faith, I will not be moved. And so I, Lord Gautama, Lord of the world, ask you this night to join hands with one another and form in this room one cosmic circle of light. This shall be linked with a beloved messenger, and these petitions shall be consumed while you are holding hands in a fellowship of cosmic love. I can tell you this, that the energies of heaven will pass into your midst, and you shall realize in part and know in part that it is good to have no fear, but to believe in God, in the words of the Christ, even as ye believe in me, so do thou this act now, and I shall conclude in a short time.